The rumor I heard wasn't that BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street own all the homes right now, but that they were part of who bought the about 25% of the homes along with Blackstone and after 2008 financial crisis, and then systematically inflated housing prices in entire neighborhoods in many cities across the city, which collectively was enough to inflate prices. Are you saying that never happened in any capacity? All right, I would have answered your question if you didn't end it with, are you saying that didn't happen in any capacity? First off, I'm not fucking talking about 2008. I'm talking about right now. Two totally different things. Second of all, here's a little piece of advice for you in the future. If you want to have a conversation with people, ask the question and wait for the answer. But if you end your question with some pretentious bullshit of like you're in some kind of higher capacity and higher fucking thing that you're looking down at somebody like, are you saying something? I didn't say any of that shit. You know I didn't say any of that shit. Two totally different things. But you're a pretentious prick and I'm not going to fucking engage with you. Learn from this. Be better. I'll see you next time. I don't talk to people when they do that shit. Now, I will if we're roasting each other, but if I'm having an actual conversation, if you ask a question and then end the question with some kind of, are you saying that none of that happened? Is that what you're saying? Why ask a question and then finish it with a, this is telling me what I'm saying? You've already decided. It's stupid. There's no point in engaging in that. What a fucking stupid fucking thing to do. Hopefully you learn a little bit of life, fucking social skills from that. Look at Oracle absolutely nuking. What happened? They pulling out of the TikTok deal? Jesus Christ, killing the whole market, except AHR. I wouldn't say absolutely nuking. I mean, that's a big drop. What's the news? I didn't see the headline. I was too busy talking to somebody. Who's got the headline? My chat's all fucked up because I was looking at a conversation from earlier. International Oracle data shows financial challenge of renting out NVIDIA chips. Oh, no shit. Buy the fucking dip because nobody cares. Nobody fucking cares. It's a circle jerk. Money's just flowing in. They're borrowing. They're getting money invested from 100 billion from here to pay here, and now Nvidia's given OpenAI 100 billion, which they're going to give. They're now giving to AMD, which is then going to go into APLD, which is going to go into CoreWeave, which is going to go back to Nvidia, which is going to go to thing. I'm just waiting for WeRide to get in on that. That's what I need. It's the Nvidia ETF exactly. Stocky, you realize that the person that you're responding to is a first-time chatter? Fuck them in a nice way. First-time chatter, you probably already unfollowed. Listen, don't take it personally. I'm just very straightforward and blunt with people. So, like I said, regroup and we'll try it again. Why is everything dumping because of this? Because everything is running on fucking split section. Did you see what happened yesterday during the OpenAI? During the OpenAI thing, we were watching every single time that Sam Altman or the other guy literally said that another company, the stock mooned. Go back to yesterday's stream. Started with Figma. Went absolutely fucking bonkers. They mentioned Peloton. Didn't even say anything. Just mentioned the word Peloton. The stock ran 8%. It was insane. We were watching Zillow. They talked about Zillow stock ran like 6%. It was insane. That's what this market is right now. We did talk about, Albertson pumped. What app do you recommend for stocks? If it's about just getting started with total investing and not trading, I would say a lot of assumptions. Oh, is this the same guy? A lot of assumptions. I can tell you get attacked a lot from your own chat. Yeah, but we roast each other and have fun. Here, okay, you know what? I was going to let you come back. There's no assumptions. I literally read out what you wrote at the end. That's not an assumption. That's literally the English language. Maybe English isn't your first language, but that's what you said. You said, instead of ending there, you go, are you saying that never happened in any capacity? No, I did. Why would you even bring that up? No one even talked about that. You brought up something else that I didn't even speak about. So you're a bit argumentative from my position. English can't be his first lesson. Wait, hold on. I just want to be clear right now. I'm not going to get caught up on this because my chat's going to be like, dude, forget about it. But you asked me a question and then finished it with, are you saying that never happened in any capacity? That is the definition of argumentative. You ask me a question and then finish with an argument, like being argumentative. That's not me being argumentative. You legitimately asked a question and instead of just asking the question, brought up a different situation and tried to make me defend my position. That is what argumentative, the definition of argumentative is on your first ever chat. It wasn't meant to be pretentious. Okay, maybe it was argumentative. It was a serious question because if you're saying that never happened, I never even talked about 2008. Then you're convoluting a conversation about the cause. Okay. This has to be bait. There's no way this guy's serious. My entire whiteboard was talking about news organizations and content creators saying that Blackstone is buying up all the houses right now, and that's why there's no housing supply. What happened almost 20 years ago, while it has some effect on the current housing supply, guess what? If they haven't been buying up all the houses, how come there was a bunch of supply 5 years ago, but there's no supply now? And if they haven't bought any new houses, then it's a different situation. The inventory that they had after 2008, which they've sold a lot of, has taken inventory out of the market and kept some of it out of the market for that time frame. But there was a lot of houses being bought 5 years ago, and it wasn't them. So We're talking about the current situation. I have done a shitload of whiteboards and YouTube videos on what caused the 2008 crash, how that happened. It's not even Blackstone. You want here you go. Here you go. Tetanus, whatever it is. I'm gonna indulge you one more time because I think I'm gonna take your whatever you're doing and actually use it as something. That one guy will never find out what app to use. Yeah, to the guy who was asking what app to use, it's really just about, if it's just about investing, then it really doesn't matter because nobody does commissions now. It's just about getting started with your 401k, your IRA, your HSA, and stuff like that. I don't recommend trading, especially if you're beginning. It's absolutely just stupid. You're just going to blow up your account. I don't care what anybody tries to sell you. You're going to blow up your account doing that. If you want to learn the market and get all that, the essentials down first, and then maybe mess around to buy individual stocks for time frames, then it's just about what UI you like. Some people like Webull, some people like Robinhood, some people like eToro, some people like Schwab, some people, you just have to see what user interface you're most comfortable with. All right, back to this dickhead. All right, here's something that you didn't even talk about that I will bring up. Not only will I add to the fact that, yes, they bought up a bunch of houses 20 years ago after the crisis. Do you want to know who the biggest culprit of houses in America right now is, outside of investors and shit like that? The number one culprit for people that are causing the housing bubble, or whatever you want to call it, the housing glut right now, is people like me, okay? People who have a sub 3, sub 4, sub 5% mortgage, who are not going to sell that fucking house, want to upgrade to a bigger house, but are not about to sit here and buy a house where equity is 40% higher than it was a few years ago and interest rates are double what they were. Nobody's buying into that shit. And I'm not selling this house. So you know what people like me do? They rent somewhere else, rent out their house to cover the mortgage there, rent the new house, save half the money that they would if they were mortgaging that same house, and then wait for rates to come down or prices to come down to buy. That's the problem. But you want to know the other problem that nobody talks about? It's not Blackstone. It's not anything else like that. It's banks. You want to know why? Because they got shadow inventory. See, the banks did something in 2008 that they fucked themselves with in the short term. And that is that they had a bunch of mortgages that were subprime shit mortgages that people couldn't afford, that were in foreclosure or pre-foreclosure. And you know what they did? They tried to sell them. And they all tried to sell them at the same time. And guess what that does? Brrr, drives the price down. So you know what the banks are doing right now with houses in foreclosure and pre-foreclosure? They're not putting them out on the market. They're keeping them. They're keeping them in fucking pre-foreclosure. They're keeping them as rentals, or they're keeping them as an appreciative asset, because they do not want to release all of those into a market where housing prices are so high. Because if there's a sudden drop in housing prices and we get a bunch of people that want to flip and stuff like that, it could drive prices, down very fast, and they don't want to do that. Shadow inventory is a problem. Shadow inventory is a problem. All right, that's a whole other thing that we haven't even talked about. There again. You want to find one entity to blame for all this, and I understand, but it's a collective problem. Some of it's intentional, some of it's unintentional. I don't want to sell this house. I paid off half this house, and I have a 2.85% mortgage on it, even though my insurance has gone up 60% this year. Why would I sell this house and then buy a house that I know is either going to be cheaper or lower in rate in a couple of years? And if I refinance, I lose all the fucking interest that I pay on a 6.5% mortgage on a fucking whatever house, have to refinance it down, lose every penny of that interest. So 95% of the money I paid goes out the window, 5% goes into equity, but I lose that because I have to do closing costs again when I refinance. I don't want to do that. So that's why your question, if you would have just said, what are your thoughts about what BlackRock, Blackstone, and these others did after 2008, buying up all these homes, on liquidation, on foreclosures? Do you think that the inventory that they currently have is part of the reason that we have this glut in housing? And left it at that, I'd have fucking answered your question. Absolutely. I love having these discussions. But maybe you learned something today. Ending a question with, are you saying that never happened? What? That's a totally different fucking thing than we're talking about right now.